Hey everyone, it's Finn here from the NOLA Nerdcast talking to everyone's favorite Sean Velasco from Yacht Club Games. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Yeah, good to see you.
You know, I gotta say it's been forever since I've seen you. You were at Summer Game Fest, and before that, probably PAX at some point.
Right? Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, weeks. I feel like I see you more than I see some family members, you know.
no, you're welcome for that. I appreciate
Yeah, no,
the
yeah, my
ability
life
to
is
be
only
such a
richer.
constant in your life.
But yeah, my
Actually, are
life
you
is
gonna
only
be at
richer
PAX
for it.
West or with Mina out?
Indeed.
Is that no longer a thing for you?
No, we're going to be giving some talks. I'm going to be giving a talk with Celia, the traitorous Celia,
The
who,
tr-
but
the
still,
the
but still
Benedict Arnold of
Benedict Benedict Schilling. We're still gonna be hanging out and gonna be talking about what it's like to work in the game industry and be indie devs and all that stuff.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, we're all
Well, I mean,
still all hanging out. And Bannon from Way Forward is gonna be there. Is this all a secret? Maybe I'm not allowed to talk about this yet.
we love Bannon. Bannon from
Early
Way Forward's a
advertising.
great
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, we love 'em.
So actually, with that said, you mentioned Way Forward. I'd like to tell. Why don't you tell people like who you are and what you do and how you've ended up where you are? Like, what's the Sean origin story here?
My history. Okay. Well, yeah. I guess we could start it. We could start it Way Forward. I had a whole another company before Way Forward that was like we made one mobile game that was Nightmare Before Christmas for like Razor phones, like Brew,
Hell
very
yeah!
old school, like 2003.
You didn't
But
make
we just
anything for the N-Gage.
that we literally had engaged dev kits in class, like when I was in school, and they used OpenGL ES with it, which was like a version of OpenGL that was like um, it was a version that was like for mobile, and they made big promises, right? Tomb Raider is going to be able to run, Tony Hawk Pro Skater is going to be able to run. Here's the specs, and we like built for it, and like I mean we didn't know what we were doing because we were dumb college kids anyway. But like then we finally got our hands on the hardware like way later, and it was like much slower than we had thought initially. And I mean, it was still awesome to like because they supported us and they gave us like real hardware, and we had like the real life experience of being given a spec and then the spec being different than the actual hardware and having to like scramble and figure it out. So
Your first true experience as a game dev.
made engage games. And yeah, so anyway, there was that. And Way Forward is like where my career like kind of really started, I guess. And yeah, Way Forward, is a company that made a lot of side-scrolling games, a lot of licensed games, 16-bit looking stuff. They made Shantae on the Game Boy Color, which was like, I had loved as a fan and just been like, oh my gosh, what a cool game. I can't believe that like Americans are making like, and Capcom like made a like this is like I would want to work there. And I happened to be like nearby, and so that's where I applied over a Way Forward, and I ended up working on a bunch of cool stuff there and learned so much, and worked on Contra 4 and A Boy and His Blob, Blood Rain Betrayal, Double Dragon, Neon, Mighty Milky Way, all those Mighty games. Mighty Switch Force 2 was the one that I worked on. And a bunch of other games that I forget. That's where I became. That's where I learned how to make side scrollers, learned how to do all that stuff, and then we broke off a team of people from Way Forward, broke off to form Yacht Club, and our first game was Shovel Knight, and we kickstarted it, and so then we worked on Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight was a big hit. You might have heard of it.
Small one.
It was a big hit on the 3DS and the Wii U. It was especially big on the 3DS. Like everyone had Shovel Knight. We made an amiibo. Now there's been like 8 Shovel Knight games, including all of these other side characters, a puzzle game, a roguelike game. We publish games as Yacht Club now, so we like publish games like Cyber Shadow and Azure Striker Gunvolt, and now we just released our latest game, Mina the Hollower, which was a big hit as well, and was very as Jason Schreier of Bloomberg said, was a make or break, popularized it. It was our make or break moment. Uh, and it was great. It went over well. We were very well reviewed, and the game is sold well. And now here I am. And during that time, I did like the design of those games. I directed them ever since like Boy and His Blob. I directed most of the games after that. I acted as director or designer. For Mina, I was I didn't come on to take over in directing until the game was about halfway over. Until then, I just kind of like gave design support. So that was kind of like, it was almost like working on a way forward project in some ways. It was like a project that was somewhat, it was like already in production. And then it's like, all right, how are we got to come in here and kick this thing out the door. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? So that was a fun challenge. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. And, yep.
Such a great trajectory. You've had a really good way forward to your current success. You know, um, in terms of Mina, because that is the new hotness. I full disclosure, I was also a backer for that one as well as Shovel Knight because you had me at Mega Man.
Yeah.
And
Same.
but yeah, like from the launch of Mina, from the launch of that Kickstarter to the release of the game, it had been, I guess you could say, quite a little bit longer than you originally anticipated. What would you
Yes.
say is the biggest thing you learned? Because everyone learns with each game. From the launch of that Kickstarter to the launch of the game, what were the biggest lessons you guys learned as a team
Uh, I mean, so
that you
many.
didn't know from Shovel Knight, I guess?
I mean, so many, and we, I think we also ended up repeating mistakes. But like sometimes you don't. You're like, oh, I got to look out for the rock, and then like the rock is on the other. You like trip over it on the other foot, and it's like, oh, whoops. Um, so yeah, what did we learn? I mean, I think the biggest thing was when we started Mina, we started working as two teams, and we did two projects at once. There's another project that we were working on that's not announced yet, and when we split into those two teams, we also like hired up a lot to cover, we wanted to grow. We wanted to grow. And as a result, the COVID hit like at that exact time in like, March of 2020. And that's right when we were doing this. And I think like part of it was just like, as a result, we didn't have a chance to get that team cohesion that we could have otherwise formed. And as a result, it just ended up that like we would only be focusing on one game or the other game, or one game would fall behind. There were some there were some people that we didn't vibe with. There was just a lot of revision of things, like the ideas of the game we had set, usually we like set our flags in the stone really early on and we say like, here's what it's going to be. But this game was like kind of amorphous a little bit in the beginning and like got pulled around a lot. Um, and then it was such a giant game as well. There was like so much structural like stuff and it was like so huge that we just like didn't understand, I think, like some of the scope of what we were biting off when we were like making that Kickstarter, right? It was just like we're like, hey, there's going to be this feature. And then we would just say that. And then it's like, 3 years later, we're like, oh gosh, this is going to be, it's like to implement something like this would like take months. So overall, what did we learn? I guess like, I think we like spread ourselves too thin. Don't spread yourself too thin. Um, make sure that you have all the ability to do that. I mean, COVID like really messed stuff up as well. Like people had to leave and like the
Yeah.
team, like we couldn't like, that really like jumbled everything up. We couldn't work together as well. Um, so that was a big one. I guess the other one was make sure that you plan and scope everything appropriately from the get-go, at least be like somewhat like realistic about it. We, I think, wrote a lot of line items that we didn't necessarily understand. Oh, hey, this is like how much work it's going to be. And then yeah, I think that as a result of those things, we kept thinking that we were going to be done earlier than we were because we weren't like tracking everything properly, and that like resulted in a lot of like, oh, here's a deadline. Oh, we like missed it. Oh, we think it's going to be done. Oh, it's like not done. We're taking longer than we thought, and that kind of stuff really, it started to wear on us after a while, and people started getting like burned out because it felt maybe if we had known from the get go, this is going to be 6 years, and like we all just got to fly the starship to the next place, but that's how long it's going to take, because it felt like rug pulls or like because things got revised. That was like hard on people. So I think in the future we would also want to make sure we were like more sure of ourselves and we were more planned out, just so it was all like a little bit more, a little bit more like stable. Yeah, this was definitely a lot of tumult with the Mina project. But you know what? We did a post-mortem about all this stuff and talked about it, and like it was really a bummer of a doc, but the bright spot is that the game itself did turn out like really good, and it's something that
Yeah.
we're all proud of it. So you know that part is cool, and it's been recognized by others as well, and to see people enjoying it and playing it has also been really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you made the announcement that you were hoping for 1 million in sales, and then like a day later, you're like, and we're at 500K, and that was over a month ago. So I imagine, like, first of all, congratulations on the success of the game. I've
Thank you.
just seen as a fan art myself. It's just nice to see good games get recognized. You know.
Yeah.
Now, from that though, internally, were you guys, I guess this is a way you can just, I've always found this fascinating. Did, when you have that final product and you have that idea that you have a good game on your hand, were you still surprised by the reception, or was it more in line of what you expected after you guys had like signed off on the final version of the game?
Uh, you know, I think it's always a surprise. It's always a surprise. And um yeah, I it we knew that the game was good. We were confident that we had a good quality game, and we knew it from the playtests and people that we had shown the game that they were enjoying it, and that some people were like ranting and raving about how much they were loving it, you know, especially people that, you know, Bloodborne fans, Dark Souls people, like the Zelda fans, you know, some of them, or like Castlevania fans, they're like, oh my God, I love Castlevania and Dark Souls, and this is like my jam. I love it so much. You know, the kinds of people that we, I guess it's like the who we are, right? It's like we that recognition was also shown from others. So we knew it was like if someone that loves Bloodborne really truly loves the game, then we've got like something there. And even internally, of course, we were confident. So between all of that, the evidence showed that it was good. It seemed good, but also, you know, who knows if games sell, and who knows how games are
Right?
received. And sometimes games get great scores and don't sell anything, and sometimes games come out and they're great and they get ignored, or like sometimes the score doesn't match the game, or it feels like unfair. And who knows? Sometimes one little thing can change the whole narrative about your game, and then like the internet goes, and then like the game, it suddenly just like becomes about that. Or maybe some huge, maybe Mecha Chameleon comes out that week, and then like you sell nothing because it's like, so it could be like anything, right? It could be anything. So
That's what's crazy about this industry now is there's so many factors that even just 10 years ago weren't factors.
yeah, it's just completely chaotic. I have no idea. So were we surprised? I mean, not exactly, because we're like trying to prepare for every contingency, right? Like have a whiteboard and we're like, here's like what if we sell 1 million copies, then we can, you know, take over the world or whatever. And it's like, and if we don't, then we'll have to like figure it out. We do, like, you know, we try to prepare for prepare, what is it, plan for the worst, prepare for the best. Do one of those or the other.
Yeah, one of those things.
We try to do that. So yes, it was surprising and like and like humbling, and also, you know, like the Shovel Knight feelings of, you know, cat being pet by 1 million hands.
Right?
Uh, yeah, it was very very cool to make one
That's
game
awesome.
that, yeah, to make one game that was well received is one thing, but to like have a whole nother franchise that's a whole other thing, and for that to be, for people to like that too, is really really cool. So yeah, just
It's a great position to find yourself in, and I think you guys have earned that because you know release games when they're ready. Fans might not like the wait, but it's always worth the wait. Like
yeah,
I remember even with a King of Cards, right? Like that took, I think, longer than you initially anticipated, but you know, no one's sitting there going like, "Man, I sure wish they had rushed it instead of enjoying what came out."
yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, uh we have the very great privilege of being able to hold our games for that amount of time and bankroll it ourselves. some people don't have the money, and they, like they have to turn it in. I mean, like with Shovel Knight, right? Like the original,
Yeah.
we like had to put it out. We had to put it out. Luckily, that was like, thankfully, that was the one project where like everything went right, and we just like, it was like 18 months. The game was good from the get go. We didn't have to revise anything major. Nothing exploded. It was just like boom, it was done. Um, but yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Now you're good. What what would you say is from the initial scope and design of the game? What was your favorite feature or mechanic or thing added to the game since you first conceived of it?
To Mina, you mean?
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that we planned from the beginning. 60 different trinkets that you could use all interdependently with one another, and you could have like, six of them all equipped at once. Five different weapons and their upgrades, a big story, being able to literally do anything in any order, like Zelda style. Like
Isn't that
Zelda
was so cool?
1, those were things that were like written on the whiteboard, right? But those are things that are like, that stuff is written on the whiteboard of like every game that you start working on. You're like, and you should be able to like, there should be like 5 upgrades, and there should be, 100 items. And then later on, you're like, okay, 40 items, okay, 20 items, okay, 10 items. I guess like one of my favorite things is like not what was added, but just what wasn't taken away. Like we made every single thing that we committed to with this game, and as a result, it's like this huge expand. I mean, it feels like 5 games put. It's a game and it's 5 sequels, like all like put together, because we put as much work into it as we did Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight, like combined in time at least. Uh, but
That's
as far as
awesome.
I mean, it was so yeah, it's so cool. I just love. I mean, I love how full it is and how you can go anywhere and how you can use all the items. But I would say, uh, as a result of all those things that I just mentioned, our favorite thing that we added afterwards is the shuffler. Like because you can randomize, like now you can randomize all the items and their positions. We're adding a warp shuffler in a new patch. And so you're going to be able to randomize like a huge amount of stuff throughout the game. And it's all the way it's all like integrated into New Game Plus, and the way like I loved playing Super Metroid randomizer and Link to the Past randomizer,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
like
love that.
so fun. And the one that's like crossover and like Archipelago
Exactly.
and all that stuff is like that was my jam over the past few years. And so we like integrated a version of that like into Mina, and I mean it's just so fun. It's like I love that. That's like my favorite new edition, I think. Yeah.
Like my goal, my dream right now is for that to be a featured game on like the next Games Done Quick. You
Oh
know?
yeah, definitely. Yes, I would love that. And I mean, we've been working with speedrunners very closely, and the original game had like so much stuff. We're trying to like, I mean, we patched a lot of it out, but the speedrunners are like, no, now we're gonna play on the original one because there's like a wall. There's like a wall that's missing somewhere. You could get out of the world. Some of the fishing stuff, like you can use the fishing rod to get around, but some of the fishing stuff that they found was stuff that we had not intended on, and so like they just like busted it wide open. And I thought we were being, really thought that we were like good about it. We were so careful when we tested it, but no, they just destroyed it. I can't wait to see it on Games Done Quick. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite things, and I think a lot of people would agree on this, is because this game is all things considered a difficult game, but not in like an unfair way.
Yeah.
But you still provided those modifiers. The Mina modifier system, I think, is so special. There's so many options for so many different players. Because I have a friend, we're doing like a video game book club right now, and Mina's the game we're currently playing. And one of my friends is just not a very hard game, like Bloodborne type of person,
Sure.
but he's still being able to enjoy the game because of the modifiers. And you have them to make the game easier, to make the game harder, to make the game sillier. How did those modifiers come about, and at what point did you have to like cut them off? Because there are so many.
Yeah, good question. So first off, how did it happen? Well, originally in Shovel Knight, we had all of these things in the game as cheat codes, at least a large amount of all the stuff. And the reason it's in Shovel Knight is because there used to be video games used to have cheat codes in them. Like instead of getting a DLC
Yeah.
for a secret character that you paid $5 for, on the title screen, you would press up, left, down, right, and while you're holding a button, and it would unlock them. No, I'm kidding. I'm being cynical. Um, and so there was zillions of codes. They sold a thing called Game Genie, and you would put your Game Genie into your Nintendo, and
I
when
had one.
it would pop up, and you would enter a code in, codes that the developers did not think of, and all it did was like change RAM addresses in the game to make weird effects happen. So it's like, oh, we're gonna nowadays you have a cheat engine which does the same thing with like any kind of game that you're playing. Like on PC as well. So you could do things like have infinite lives or skip around the levels or make it so you do big moon jumps or whatever. Those cheat codes are really fun, and I spent a lot of time as a kid, and we all did, entering the codes and having fun and messing around, and some of it was just for weirdness's sake. Some of it was like, whoa, finally we could give ourselves enough lives to like get through this and like see the, oh my gosh, we could like see the ending. Crazy. Uh, yeah, and so we wanted to do all that stuff for modern our games as well. And so that's what we did for Shovel Knight. There were over 250 different cheat codes that let you do things like make the sprites twice as big, or make a world flip around, or things that are like accessibility options, like you're talking about, giving yourself more health, giving yourself being able to walk on pits, giving yourself more money, and then the same thing also goes. So for Mina, we wanted to make all of those cheats and all of that stuff available, just like with more of a menu and with more of an explanation. In Shovel Knight, you can only have one code at once, and in this one, we wanted to have it so that they could all be there. You could have them all on, and we could add them all and do fun stuff. That's where it started. Not We didn't really think about it from the get go as like a big accessibility mode, you know. But then as we went through, and also, man, the one that did it for me was in Last of Us 2. There's a accessibility thing where you can just make it so the main character just grabs items automatically. Like, she automatically opens the things, takes it, so just as you're walking by, she's just looting everything. And because I just found it annoying to have to like hunt and peck for all of the things. And so it's like, look, she just does it, right? It made my game so much better for me. And it was like something dumb, something that was like, it was like truly just a taste, like a matter of taste. And I thought, why shouldn't it be like this? Why shouldn't we all be able to modify our game to the way that we want to be able to play it? And why would I gatekeep a game? Like, why would I gatekeep a hard game? Like, I played Contra the Alien Wars as a kid, and I could never get very far. But you could, just like in arcades, which I didn't mention those, but arcades are also a huge inspiration, just like Game Genie. Arcades have dip switches. You can set the amount of lives, how easy everything is, how fast it all moves, and you could like change it all around. So, yeah, I mean, being able to modify everything has like a very deep and storied history in gaming. All those accessibility modifiers were added to make it so everyone would be able to play, whether you're my 6-year-old nephew or my 70-year-old mom or me who wants the challenge as well. And if you can use it like training wheels so that way in the future, just like how I play Contra like a big boy now, you could do that. It's all, I really have embraced being able to play the game the way that you want, get your burger how you want it. We came from the age of Ninja Gaiden Black, where when you put on Ninja Dog mode, they put a pink ribbon on you to emasculate you. Then that's lame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. What would you say is your favorite modifier?
I mean, the randomizer is a modifier, but I won't say that
Is it? I
randomizer
don't think
again.
you even noticed that the randomizer was a modifier.
Yeah, shuffle items is in there, and then we're going to be
Oh,
adding
dang.
even more
Okay.
stuff to the there's shuffle items, shuffle sidearms, and shuffle warps. And there's going to be like a whole thing where it's like, how many goals do you want to complete? How many when you finish? How many fountains, whatever? How many towers do you need to
Yeah.
finish the game? Uh, oh, you only need 3 now, and then the door opens, and like, or in order to beat the game, there's 2 different goals. You have to get this much gold, and you have to like beat the bosses, or it's gonna be even more of like a remix rematch thing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and what I do love is I like damage numbers. That's something that's a very, it's like the other the rest of the team doesn't want numbers all over the screen all the time, and I respect that and I understand that. But I'm just really happy that it's there as information that I can turn on. That's a
Yeah,
simple, but hey, you know what? Damage numbers,
damage numbers, big mode, like big head mode or whatever.
big
Like
mode.
it
Yeah,
just
what are
it,
your favorites?
so I like the one where I like, even though it's not practical, the big Mina version was a fun
Yeah.
one. But I think for me, the only one that I used that made it easier was by the fourth spire. I had to toggle that one that gave me more time, remove like
Okay.
the
Oh yeah, the
barrier
kill
thing.
line, yeah, right, or
Yeah,
whatever it's called.
that one I had to admit defeat on that one. So that one was a helpful one, but I only used
Nice.
it on that one. But but that's what I appreciated. It took a thing that was I was beating my head against and might have eventually had me be like, well, I can't progress, and didn't diminish the game. And giving me the option was fantastic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the the one where it kind of I got less money, which feels weird, but I felt the game was so generous with the amount of bones you got, as long
Yeah,
as you
that's
were
true.
diligent about getting back to your corpse. Uh, it felt like it balanced it more for the way I played the game. So it was just cool that there was so many to choose from.
Yeah, nice.
Now, um, one thing that, and I'm not actually expecting an answer from you, but I'd like your thoughts. One cool thing Shovel Knight did was the guest characters, where
Oh
you
yeah.
had like Kratos as a hidden boss or the Battletoads. Is that anything that you wanted to revisit for Mina? Like have special one-off like people pop up, even if it's just a boss or a little side quest.
Uh, that's for Mina 1, we really wanted to make it like a very like sacrosanct, right? There's no other character stuff in it, and there's no Shovel Knight references, not even a cheeky little reference or like a shovel in the corner or like a blue armor. Like it's very, very deliberately like separate. And
Okay.
I think that's like on purpose. Yeah. I don't and plus we said we're not gonna add anything big to the game, you know. If anything, then
Right.
we would do it like in a follow up or another, a sequel or something. Um, yeah, so I think we probably wouldn't do cameos. Although Mina is going to be in some stuff.
Oh,
She was announced as a guest character for Rivals of Ether 2, which I'm not sure if you saw.
yeah, at Evo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's going to be cool. She's going to join the rest of the furry cast there to be a
Following the Shovel Knight method of just popping up in the most random of places. I loved every time an indie game would be like, and also here's Shovel Knight. And you're
and
just like,
Shovel
hey,
Knight.
good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're with Mina, we're gonna keep our cameos more like, it'll be very much more calm than Shovel Knight, who was truly everywhere. But yeah, I mean, as far as things crossing over, I don't know. I would never say never, right? Like in the future, especially, it seems like, uh, I don't know. I like now that Mina has come out. When you think about like what would another game be, it's like the second game needs to be like a commentary on the first one, So like maybe it should have a bunch of like side characters. Maybe it should be all about the side characters. It needs to be
Also,
like
like Mina is so robust and packed with content. It's almost ridiculous to imagine a sequel being bigger in any capacity, right?
I mean, I don't know. It would definitely I mean, I'm sure yeah, we'd have to sink another I don't know how fast we could make it if we had to make another one of the same size.
I need it by
Yeah,
next Halloween, please.
right. Even if it was half the time, 3 years to make like a whole other game of that size. I mean, I'm sure we could do it. But yeah, to make something that's like bigger, or in order to make it bigger, it would have to be less dense, I think, or like more. It's got to give. Something's got to give, right? Usually, when something gets a lot larger and becomes like an open world game, they're usually a lot more like empty as a result. There's kind of like less to do, or there's only like there's there are less there's less like put together content and everything is more like a cookie cutter, like, oh, there's only like this many types of mission, and you just kind of like
Yeah.
do those missions. So that way it makes it just so you could do it, so you could make such a giant game, right? It's a Breath of the Wild, and it's like the same way, right? That you chunk up all of those little bits of content, so that way you could put the damn thing together. So but yeah, maybe we could do that. It's like Mina in a big giant open area, and then there's like little like you know little rooms that you go in, and those are like built differently. I don't know, man. Maybe AI could help with like
Well, look, I I can't tell you what to do, but if you wanted to put Mina in another game, I feel like you could do a lot worse than the upcoming Castlevania Belmont's Curse. Like, I feel like if there was one game to pair with, that one would be so.
that's true. Would she yeah, okay, so what would it be? Is it a lady that you play as in this game? Or are you
I think there's multiple. I've been purposefully kept in the dark. Like, I
okay,
like to go into some games not knowing too much.
sure.
Like, no shade to the hard work your marketing team does, but I ignored every Mina update and every trailer until it came out. I went in only knowing what I already knew from just PAX demos.
Sure. Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, uh yeah, sorry, where were we?
No, I was just saying, like, because you wanted to keep Mina's cameos a little more centered. I feel
Yeah.
like at the very least, the new Castlevania game feels very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I
I mean,
actually have
yeah,
no
that
idea
may,
what goes
would it
into
be
those
would
deals.
she be okay? So here's my questions, and here's my questions for the new Castlevania game. Would she be like her full size, or would if the character is like a full size, would Mina be
Oh,
like
I see what you're
shoulder height,
saying.
or would she be like a full size tall like person, like a human? Like would she be stretched out like long Mina, or would it be like I'm a Mina themed girl that has like I have like white hair and like little
True,
ear.
like the character is just wearing like a Mina cosplay, or maybe they do
Right.
like a golden eye and an odd job where they actually just make Mina
Right.
half the
She's just
size.
short. You don't have to duck
Changes all
underneath.
the hitboxes.
You don't have to duck underneath axe armor. Yeah. I mean, maybe. Yeah. Castlevania would definitely be appropriate. Like I said, we'll definitely do cameos bit by bit if the situation comes up. But I don't know. Isn't the age of cameos played like
I know. It's just a fun
Avengers?
thing that Shovelman and I did. So you have to
Definitely.
ask, right?
I'm of two minds about it, right? It's like, it's also a big thing in fighting games, which I've been playing a lot of lately. It's like, you get a new fighting game comes out, and I mean, we're a part of this because Mina's going to be in Rivals, but it's like, oh, well, who are the guest characters going to be? Oh, Mai is going to be in Street Fighter. Oh, who are the character like there's a new Guilty Gear guest character, and it's from somewhere. Who's it going to be? It drums up so much attention and excitement. I feel like it sucks all the air out of the room almost, and you don't even no one's even caring about the other characters or about what's
The
happening
actual
with the
characters
game
of the game.
because you're like,
Yeah,
oh my god, 2B is gonna be in Soul Calibur 6. We got to get it.
right. No,
Yeah,
I get it. It's a double edged sword sometimes because
yeah,
it definitely the bigger the cameo, the more it detracts from your actual characters that you work hard on.
yeah, definitely. So
But
yeah, I get it,
um,
but it's fun too.
it is now. For you personally, what was your favorite region of Mina? Because I think everyone by now that has played it has probably has their favorite region, and I
Yeah.
know for sure what my least favorite is
Uh,
because it humbled me so much. But I'd love to hear your answer.
good question. I could definitely recall least favorites more than favorites because it would mostly because as people were playing them, they were not having fun they were not getting it or it was like too hard, and then we would have to go and like change those and revise those and change those. So in terms of that, Crypt was nice and easy. That was
Of
like
course, yeah.
slam dunk, boom. Um, Meanwhile, like Astral, Ori was a
I
huge
love
pain in the
that
butt. It was
dungeon.
a
That was
huge
such a cool.
it was so hard for so long. That was a huge pain in the butt. Uh, Frozen was like a big mess, and then we had to like trim it way down, but it turned out pretty good and very like Coltrane Peak. I mean, turned out very. It has like a lot of good action, and it's not too puzzly and too like. I think it's easy for us to get bogged down in the puzzliness, which is like maybe what happens in September a little bit, like all of the wind and the lightning and all that stuff. It's just like although people love that because Pumpkin Hands is chasing you, the Carving Man
Oh,
is
I
getting
know.
you.
It,
Uh,
you guys did such a good job making every region feel very distinct and unique. It had its
yeah,
own vibe. And again, not to cut you off from your actual answer, but just wanted to throw that out there.
thanks. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but I think you know what? I think my favorite is the Western Wilds, which is just like to the west. That's the one where all the stompers are stomping all of the lava, and the lava is
Yeah.
like going. That's really cool. I love that. I love that you can see up at the top. There's that bridge, but you can't really like get to it, or it's like too hard to get to, and you have to kind of like poke around and wander around to get there. I like that there's that underground area that Alec made that's like really, really cool that has all of that underground lava business. Doing the ride across the bridge is fun. That's the area where the Leafs and the Leaf funeral happen. There's the race starts from there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I would say there's a lot of good stuff. And not only that, it's all compacted into a very small, very
Right? Like it's
concise.
not a
It's like
big
10
area,
screens. It's
exactly.
like 10 screens of solid gold. That's my Western Wilds. What's your least favorite? Or wait, did you say?
No, I hadn't yet. So it's not a least favorite area. Like I think the area was very well designed, but I just need to say uh, the swamp boss can go die in a fire. Okay,
Do you have trouble with him?
he humbled me so much. I kept just drowning myself trying to like position, and I would just be like, oh, this. But on the plus side, because he was so challenging, when I finally did kick his ass, it did hit me with the largest wave of satisfaction, which
Yeah.
is always the risk reward for difficult games. So we finally do triumph, but I will not tell you just how many times it took me to triumph. But it was enough to cement him as my most hated boss fight.
Nice. The Gator.
So great
Okay.
job.
Gator boss. Thank you. I'll pass all that on to the team as well. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think so many people have different issues with different parts of the game that I got to hear about in different ways. The part that makes me laugh a lot is the Deluxie, the moth or Luxie, that you
Yeah.
talk to her and you got to like kind of guide her through that dark area and she like
Yep.
pushes you and people just people hate that. It really, I mean, as designers, we want to help, we want the player to succeed, but we also kind of like are teeing when they're like traps and secrets. And I hope that you could feel that like as you're playing the game, like that
Oh yeah.
the playfulness of the design, I think. So yeah. People that part makes people crash out. That's really funny. And yeah, I mean there are parts that like there's one in the top of the bayou where there's all those witches and they're like on those narrow wooden bridges. The witches on the bridges, that drives me nuts. That's probably my most hated part. It's among them anyway.
What what would you say is the Sean approved loadout? Like one thing I loved is just the amount of customization between having multiple weapons, eventually getting two sidearms at a time, all the different trinket loadouts. I love that you guys gave people the ability to basically play Mina the way they prefer to play it. You could be long range, you could be up close, you can be mid range with the flail, and with all the different loadouts. So I'm curious, like what at the end of the game when you play it, what is your loadout?
Okay. I'm writing it down. Okay, here's what I got. Vascular syrup. Okay, that's probably my number one, right? Vascular syrup means when you get hit, your health goes down slowly, and until it goes down to zero, you can't die, like Earthboundy style, right? So that means you can just like you can face tank everything, and your health like until you get down there, then you're good. That means, especially in New Game Plus, that you can survive like forever. Vascular syrup is like my number one. If you find that in the randomizer, it's like okay, game over. I'm good. I use the Buster. The Buster is my favorite weapon with the
Okay.
charge. Like you use the charge, boom, and then you get when you just hit somebody with a charged up Buster, then you get like 4 or 5 or 6 shots just from one hit, and then you can switch, boom, 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 hit them with a lot. Don't miss though because you need to use the combo capacitor, and the combo capacitor raises your attack like it adds an attack multiplier as you hit without missing. So like you can just unload your clip into the enemy, and it 2 times, 3 times, and suddenly you're doing like a ton of damage. I also like to use the shock flint, which is when you have full health, you can fire a projectile, or plasma, full health or plasma. And I like to use the lightning grip, which makes it so that there's a slight chance of a lightning coming down on hit. and that also, I think that also includes the bullets. As you can, it's just like nuking everything, right? So, and the other one that I didn't mention is plasma funnel. So plasma funnel makes it so, or wait, is it? I forget. It makes it so you always do, so you can always heal for a little bit. You always have no matter what, even if you have no plasma, you have a basis amount of plasma, and so that means that even if you're in even if the vascular syrup is doing this and going down, then you always have an extra heal. You know what I'm saying? You always have extra
Yeah.
heal in your pocket. And then last but not least, maybe I would do something with sidearms, like the thing that makes guys drop jewels, just so you can like always juice your jewels over and over again. So I would go in there, try not to miss, charge up everything with the gun. You have all these extra things that just stack damage, bum, 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 blow everything up, and then like don't even worry about getting hit that much. I mean, both of these together, I guess, vascular syrup and the combo capacitor are like somewhat, they're like a little opposed, because one of them is like if you get hit and the other one's like don't get hit. But that's like what I would do. And I got through most of New Game Plus with some variant of stuff like that. So uh those are the
I
ones I
love
like.
that you like had all of that like ready to go. That's fantastic.
I mean, I had to test this game a shit ton of times
Right?
to put it out. Yeah. How about you?
Because I
What are your
remember
favorite? Well, yeah.
in
What are
one
your
of the
favorite triggers? Oh,
demos,
yeah,
you
tell me
were
more.
the one that would jump in and just if the game was a little too hard, you'd be like, "You want me to just show you what the rest of the demo looks like?" And you were like a savant. It was
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I think all of us here have like, we've run this demo like and the whole game like so many times
yeah.
that yeah, it's just it makes it actually difficult to balance sometimes because you're so experienced with it that it's hard for you to remember what it's like to have seen it for the first time. Yeah. No,
But to
it's
answer
so
your
fun. Yeah,
question,
yeah, yeah.
so
What's your
my
trick?
loadout is I went with the flail initially, but I eventually swapped with the daggers.
Yeah.
Um, they're just even though it put me in danger more often, I enjoy being able to attack fast. And my sidearms, I always had the drill or whatever the one that lets you
Yeah, the
skip ahead
buckler.
because
Yeah.
for the platform in it, I would be able to if you come in out of a burrow jump and then hit the drill, you get like 4 or 5 squares worth of aerial time, and that was just so big for me to find secrets and do stuff. And I love
Yes.
the trinket that allowed me to burrow a little longer than usual. That was always
Yeah,
very helpful. I always had
definitely.
like the spike shoes on because spikes suck, and mitigating that damage is always helpful.
Yeah.
Uh, the other sidearm I love, like if I had to do a more offensive one, was the axe. It was
Yeah.
a little splash damage. It's slower, and you have to be a little more precise with it, but it's so satisfying, especially with bosses. It was
Yeah,
great.
you can
And
you can output a ton of damage.
yeah, and I only found I was always one bestium short. I have not found my final bestium, but I
Ah,
did find
okay.
out what happens if you get all of them, and that is so cool. I love that.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. We'll have to talk when you do the BCM convergence, and we'll have to see what you think about everything. There
It'd
was
be
a lot of
great.
work. There was a lot of work put into that as also. We had to do whole playthroughs, whole playthroughs.
Now, I did have a question that I thought was interesting from a design perspective because I feel like this had to be a conscious team decision. You have that general overworld map, but was there a decision to not include like an actual map that you could zoom in on and find where you are in relation to things like have a quest tracker, stuff like that? Because sometimes I would remember I had a quest that someone asked about, like you don't track them, but there was like that one guy was like, hey, I really wish I could see a snowball in my lifetime. And then you would get to the place where that could happen. And I'm like, I don't know where the hell this guy was.
Right.
Because half the challenge is the puzzle of figuring out how to bring an item from one place to another. Or like the races, how can you get there without ever touching a stair? You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but what was the decision to not include like a quest tracker or a mini map of some sort?
Yeah, I mean, I guess overall, we wanted to have players be able to navigate, or we wanted to try and make a world that was navigable without the use of a map. And that meant like trying to lay it out in a way that made sense and trying to put landmarks everywhere and trying to make sure that the world was always giving you hints about where to go next and what to do next. And that hopefully all that stuff put together would allow you to allow you to make your way. Yeah, a lot of times when a game has a very detailed map, like like Hollow Knight, I spend so much time. I'm just like looking at the map, and
Instead of
then
the
I
world.
yeah, and then I go to the next room and I'm like, then I like look at my map again, and then I like go get halfway through the room and I'm like, and then I look at my map again. I don't know if everyone's like that, but for me, like sometimes I'll just like when the map in the world like that correlates so closely, you feel like you need to like be looking at it to make sure that you're like going the right way all the time. And personally, I don't really like that because it like makes it into like the map game. And I don't want that knowledge to be located outside of the player for our game. I wanted the player to be, that as the player, that's your responsibility. But we're going to make the layout way, way simpler than it would be like in some Metroid game. So that way it's like easier for you to understand where you need to go and like what you need to go. You know that this generator is roughly in the northeast direction. So if you go that way, then you're bound to run into something that's going to help you. That's like, I mean, that's our ethos with it, trying to help you and telling you. And then there's someone there that's standing in front of it, and they're like, "Oh, geez, I sure wish I had the, I sure wish I could, et cetera, et cetera." And it tells you exactly what to do, and then you get your hit, and you go. That's the fun of it, figuring it out, navigating. Um, yeah, same thing with fast travel. Like if you could just fast travel around every checkpoint, then it makes it so you like don't remember the layout of the world at all, or
Right.
at least I don't. It's like, oh, I'm going here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Well, what's the meaning of a big, vast world? The whole point of a vast world is that it takes a long time to cross. That's like what makes it vast. That's like literally. Anyway,
I didn't even think about fast travel. But no, to
yeah,
your point, I think you did a very good job of it. Like, even though it was always a me problem. Like, I forgot where that person was, but it was never an issue of navigating the world. I thought y'all did a great job, especially when you would unlock shortcuts, right? Or finally
yeah.
find that pipe that took you back to where you first saw it. Stuff like that. Like, by the end of the game, you have this great knowledge of the world because you were forced to learn it.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I'm glad that it worked. And I know that, when you don't have a map and when you don't have tutorials, like sometimes people do get more confused than they would if they weren't there. Or like sometimes there is like an issue. And I think we try so hard to make it not confusing and try and tutorialize everything in the game. But like at the end of the day, sometimes we come up short and it's like that overall, I think that is a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off between the message popping up all the time or being confused sometimes. And that's for our game. For this one, we decided this was the right move.
That's awesome. So the other thing I want to dance around this because I don't want to spoil this moment for people that might not have gotten there yet because it is one of the coolest moments of your entire game. And it's at the end. Um, so I'll be vague about it, but your answer can fit. I'm rambling. There is a tracker for random things in the game
Yeah.
that came as a surprise. How did that come about? And at what point did you have to stop yourselves from like, oh, we can track this and this and this?
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
Because
without,
I love that. That was such a cool
yeah.
moment.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we were definitely inspired by other classic games. I mean, I'm sure you remember the trial from Chrono Trigger where
Yep.
your various misdeeds or whatever miscounted or recounted rather. Yeah, and I mean, there's all sorts of games that have that kind of sub level thing going on. And yeah, we wanted to make something special for the end of the game that was cool. And I mean, the ending and how the game was always going to turn out was something that we had planned from the get go as far as like the basic steps went. But uh, yeah, I mean, we tried to make. I don't think it's too huge of a surprise of like, like what kind of like how it all goes. But maybe there are some interesting twists and turns that like are a little surprising, and subverting the player's expectations and like making making the player think about the game or about themselves a little differently was definitely one thing that we wanted to do. It's like, Link breaks pots all throughout his game, and everyone's fine with it. It's weird. So we thought, yeah, maybe what if people weren't?
Was there ever a point where you had to stop yourselves from
Oh, right.
being like,
Yeah, yes. Well, at first, well, yes. And then because at first you only got told like five things, and then we're like, oh, we got to add more. And we're like, okay, we'll add five more. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, we got to add five more. And then at that point, if you keep saying yes, it'll go for like 20. I think it goes for 20 or 25 things. And
what? So I obviously kept hitting it. I was like,
yeah,
how far can this rabbit
right.
hole go?
Totally. Yeah, at some point we had to say, okay, this is enough. But no, I mean that's not true, because even as we developed the game more, even after that thing was implemented, we went back and added even another, few things to it. So yeah, we had, at some point we had to cut everything off, but just like everything, it was very well iterated on.
That's awesome. But well, I know we're running close on our time, so I just want to say thank you for taking the time to chat. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah,
it's
my
also
pleasure.
so rare to be able to talk to you post game launch. Like it's been a while since we've been able to do that. So congratulations
Yeah,
to the entire team. Mina's
yeah,
awesome, and shout
thank
out to
you.
you repping the shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely. Got to rep my Mina shirt. If I got to put on a shirt, if I got to put on a shirt for an interview, then
Right?
it's got
I
to
mean, it
be,
hasn't
yeah.
arrived yet, but I did order the Mina plush from
Yay.
Fangamer. So,
Cool. Yeah, we're hoping we can do these Mina shirts as well and have those available. And there's also we want to get a bunch of Mina. Obviously, we got a bunch of Mina merch that we're gonna get in the pipe. But yeah, look forward to that plush. I got one sitting on my shelf over there, and it's
oh,
awesome. Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
So, my final question, and this will be a repeat question for you, but the last time I interviewed you was 7 years ago. So, I'm going to just assume that it might as well be new. And it'll be fun for me to see if your answer has changed.
Uh-oh.
So, in your heart of hearts, if you have to choose, are you a cake or a pie guy?
uh, that is a funny question. I don't I don't know. I can't on the top of my is cheesecake a cake or a pie?
I'll see that comes up to the person. Like I leave that up to your discretion. What is it?
I guess cheesecake is a cake, so I guess I'm a cake guy.
The cake asterisk cheesecake.
Cake asterisk. I love the cake. Let's get caked up.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Sean. As always,
That's my pleasure.
you're great. I hope the team is enjoying some well-earned rest out like in between patches and updates and whatnot.
Yes,
And just
people are taking weeks and going, and I'm in somewhat of a manic state right now. I'm sure I'll crash soon, and then I'll have to go off. But for right now, ready for the next thing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
feel free to tell me what that next thing is, though. The exclusive drop. What's
The next thing is we gotta have a meeting about it. I don't even know. I'm more just saying, let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, it will probably not be Mina. It'll definitely not be Mina. It'll be something else.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Keep innovating, just making these beloved IPs. Why not?
Yeah, right. Yeah, just another one. Put another one right in the pipe.
My lights just turned off.
Oh, are you?
Oh.
Are you?
Here we go.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
motion sensing.
I see.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. Have a great rest of your day and just enjoy yourselves. Rest on those laurels, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Thank you.
Bask
Yeah.
in the greatness.
Will do. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, man. And I guess I'll see you in a couple months.
That's right. Yeah. See you soon.
All right. Bye.